Kokan and Zoya. Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. Walt Whitman. In the sky, far, far away, there lived a grey cloud called Kokan. On some days, Kokan was a deep grey, and on other days he seemed to blend into bluish darkness. Kokan swirled, twisted, and charged his way through the sky. When people saw him coming, they ran for cover, never quite knowing if or when he would turn into a storm. Now, although Kokan was a grey cloud and supposed to be gentle, he was strong and often stormy. He was very sure of himself, and some of the smaller, fluffier clouds in the sky would follow his example. They were in awe of his strength and power. He was so big, and he took up so much space in the sky. To the smaller clouds, he seemed inspiring. They wanted to be just like him. One morning, Zoya the sun rose as usual, but on this day she did not shine as brightly. As the little clouds opened to the warmth of the soft yellow circle, Zoya noticed how sad the clouds were. They had changed from a bright and dazzling white to a gloomy shade of blue, tinged with grey. She could see that Kokan was affecting them. The clouds floated amid the soft golden light. They seemed lost and confused. Zoya wished she could shine brighter for the clouds and show them that there was indeed a brighter path, but she could see that Kokan was overshadowing them. She decided to seek advice from her wise friend, Luan, the moon. That night, as Zoya sat, she whispered to Luan across the inky night sky. Luan told Zoya what she needed to know. For I am night, but would make no sense without the day. Kokan must see this too, and know that to stand too long under shadow would make even the very best of us sad. Zoya hoped that on the dawn of a new day, Kokan would begin to see things differently. She wanted Kokan to leave the shadows behind and embrace the light. The lesson to learn is that it will come to an end, just as Luan sinks and Zoya rises each morning. The stars came out one by one. Their light was comforting to the little clouds, who sailed gently along in the air. Luan stood lonely, surrounded by the evening sky. He watched the little clouds with their delicate curly edges as they continued to search for Kokan. Soon the peace was shattered as a howling wind rushed in and chased the small clouds away. Even the stars, who sparkled like snowflakes in the silver night, could not hide from the angry wind. Kokan had arrived. He had heard Zoya and Luan talking about him, and he was furious. He shouted out, "You can't beat me!" He continued to move at great speed, covering the entire night sky so no one could see. The stars quivered in fear and hid behind the soft lining of the smaller clouds. The night disappeared, and a new day began. Kokan, the grey cloud, continued to move into the vast expanse of the blue sky. The people on the ground below him beginning to run away. They felt the intensity of his shadow fast approaching. Children stopped playing and looked up, petrified. Kokan enjoyed this feeling of control, the fact that people could see and hear him and were afraid. He felt powerful. As Kokan raged through the sky, the trees rustled and the wind howled. He cast a shadow over the people below him, and he felt them tremble as he sent down icy, cold rain. The rain became heavier and heavier, and the wind became wilder and wilder. The smaller clouds tried desperately to keep up, but they lagged far behind until Kokan was dominating the entire sky. After a while, Kokan slowed down and turned to look behind him. There was no one there. The other clouds had fallen behind, and suddenly he felt lonely. Kokan realized that it was his anger that had driven them away. A feeling of fear came over him, and he began to realize how fragile he was and how alone he felt. He was anxious and afraid, and he didn't like it. He longed to have his friends with him and to feel like he belonged. Over the hills below, there was a flash of lightning and an almighty clap of thunder. This time it was Kokan who was frightened as he steered his way past the flashes of lightning. Then there was quiet. There was stillness. At that moment something changed, and the sky felt different. Zoya came out. Kokan went back to his old ways, trying to block out Zoya by covering her, but this time she was too strong. He held back a few rays, but others filtered through him. The glittering beams cleared the sky of its murky darkness. Kokan paused. He had wanted to stop the light from Zoya and to be the most powerful presence in the sky. He wanted to feel important, but he was realizing he also needed his friends. He did not like the feeling of loneliness. Feeling Zoya's rays made him feel a new burst of energy in a way he had not felt before. As he watched the early morning dew sparkling on the grass, he felt refreshed. It was not the familiar soft glow of the morning dew that had caught his eye. This time it was different. It was as if the dew had fallen from Luan's moonlight and was in the process of softening in Zoya's brilliantly golden light. As Kokan allowed Zoya's morning rays to filter through him, it made beautiful patterns of light on the ground. Kokan would always remember this time. He had learnt how to pause by thinking of the calmness and warmth of Zoya. A part of her belonged to him. Below, the children looked up at the sky. Everyone took note of this beautiful cloud with its magnificent presence. They commented on how Zoya's rays of light had brightened him and how her light had changed him. They admired his radiance. The smaller clouds watched proudly from afar. With a gentle shift, Kokan danced through the atmosphere, moving through a rainbow-filled sky, a sign of hope, a smile of promise.